Did you forget what happened on that night in this city?
So first on our list this evening is Liminal Point, which is a indie game inspired by Silent Hill, Resident Evil, as you can see, Signalis, and if I'm being honest, a lot of alien shooters, which I love the most. This is a survival game in which players will assume the role of Lyra, who has decided to come back to the island where her band's story ended in tragedy, which is a weird one, but there is a lot of survival elements going on in the game here, such as limited resources, a minimap, the asymmetric view, and a lot of atmospheric tension. Check it out.
A place where hope turned to ash. So come and find me.
Today we've come across a new multiplayer and action RPG going by the name Cloudheim, which is actually combining physics-based combat, loot system, exploration, and a super charming Norse setting as well. Now the indie team here behind this one is also made by veteran developers from Epic Games, BioWare, Codemasters, EA Games, and even Disney. There's not much to say except that unfortunately there's no set release date for the game and is still in development, possibly coming out around holidays, maybe even sooner.
Colonel, tighten the security on this place. He's coming here, I'm sure of it.
Seems like Sony just accidentally announced when Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is coming out. On that note, it's coming out August 28th this year, and they even released a trailer for it to make it all worth it. Now the information was accidentally leaked, but that doesn't really matter. Here's a fresh look at the game's overhauled visuals, although the gameplay is relatively identical to the base version, not to mention there's a new first-person mode that can be used during the game, anywhere, anytime. This game is also keeping its original voice acting and has rebuilt its original cutscenes in the Unreal Engine 5.
The fear!
A great and terrible fury at being alive.
A host of sorrows, and you are one of them.
Why'd you come back? There's nothing for you here. Go home. Go back to your boss.
I still have the Shagohod and the legacy. There is nothing America can do to stop us. I'm not finished yet!
Most places in the world, people would clap for that. We ain't in most places though, are we? Welcome to Madlantis.
Sega dropped a new trailer for Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii this week, alongside reconfirmation that the game will release on February 21st to 28th on PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and even past-gen consoles. Now this one's featuring no one other than Samoa Joe as Pirate King Raymond Law, and one look at the thing, you realize a fresh take is shaping up to be some deep crime drama, possibly like never before even. If you care to know, according to the plot, after the events of the previous games, Goro lost his memory and ended up in Hawaii and decided to become a pirate.
Men like us use every dirty trick we can to get the upper hand, don't we? can't help but feel like we have a lot to discuss. The cannons of Madlantis forgive no offense.
Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny Remastered was just announced for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Capcom has just announced a remastered version and even released a brief little trailer alongside a release window of mid to late 2025. If you are a fan of the series, you already know that the first game, Onimusha Warlords, got a PC remaster about 5-6 years ago, and it was made with quite well reviews as well. Being said, Onimusha Way of the Sword, a new game, is also slated for some time in 2026.
My name is Golden Dantis, the greatest swordsman of all demons.
Coming right up behind that, number 6, we have a solo developer's work here going by Undead Trail, Haunting Shadows, which, as you can see here, is an action shooter, almost a side-scrolling, and not only that, it's a super gory horror game in nature too, kinda like the first game in the list. This game is set in this haunted mansion where you'll be dealing with regular zombies to massive giants and fast little abomination. Each encounter will then challenge your survival instincts, demanding quick reflexes to make it through. Now, it's coming to PC so far within 2025, where you can even get involved in the development process by talking directly with the developer on Discord. Say you're a fan of high-octane, full-contact racing, I think Wreckfest 2 is the best one to keep on your radar because this sequel is set to take the stage to the next level, especially since they released a new trailer. Now, one of the standout features in the new game is a completely overhauled physics engine. This means even more realistic crashes and destruction, making every collision feel impactful and so much more. The game also boasts a deeper armor and damage system, allowing for a more intricate component damage simulation thing. Plus, with fully customizable cars that you can share with other players, the possibilities seem to be endless. Inferno, the 2D run-and-gun and gallery shooter game, is finally coming out in the third quarter of 2025 and into basically all consoles as well. This is from Steel Assault developers. Their new game here is set in New York in the year 2055, and it lets players take on a role of either Angelo or Mariana as they fight for a fledgling crime family striving out for power against a corrupt NYPD and other crime syndicate in a war-torn metropolis. Now, it's definitely inspired by the Contra games in gameplay, with multiple upgrades available to equip between missions, multiple difficulties, including an arcade mode, a 2-player co-op, and more. Coming as its developer's first work at number 9, we've got Empyreal, which is an action RPG and a single-player game set in a far-flung corner of the galaxy where the hero is on an expedition to find this monolith built by a lost civilization. Now, this is not the story of just one, but a memorable cast of characters with personal quest lines and multiple endings for each one. It's a pretty brave attempt at the entire genre in today's market, but we do know that some small teams have done some greatest in video game history. Personally, do have lots of hopes for this one, so far it looks quite decent as well.
So you get the spectacular, explosive kind of aspect of the combat as well.
There are thousands and thousands of possibilities for creating your build. You could create something basically entirely unique.
You can only change your loadout when you're in sort of the safe central hub zone area of the game, but if you find that for whatever reason a particular level doesn't seem to fit with the build that you've made, then you can change that and try again.
So in terms of stuff that players haven't seen, there is a lot because we've only put out a couple of trailers, so there's tons and tons of content. Particularly for a small studio, we've created a game that's very, very ambitious.
The challenge is making all those elements come together in one big, satisfying game that's going to reward curiosity. I think we've conquered that, to be honest.
Coming up behind that, we have the Directorate. Currently slated for an early access release on PC with a date to be announced. If you are into action RPGs with a supernatural twist, this is a worthy addition to your list. I mean, look at the gameplay. Definitely on my own radar since reveal, and it seems to be getting better by the day. The game's a third-person action in which you play as a woman who, after dropping out of college, becomes entangled with this dark syndicate known as the Directorate. Now, the developers have a history that includes experience with Capcom, Warner Bros., Montreal, and even Ubisoft, suggesting a strong focus on delivering something big. Here's how it looks. With that being said, Darklight Survivor is this survival roguelike game, and it's set in a dying multiverse where you play as one of the last humans aboard this phantom train inside a shattered universe in search of a fabled Elysium. It's gotta be something, right? Now, as a hunter, your mission here is to collect energy in each universe to power the train for the next leap, facing increasingly terrifying and powerful creatures along the way. The game also offers dynamic shifts between top-down and third-person perspectives, deep customization options, and battles across various universes, when it releases later this year. Number 12, there's Tokyo Xtreme Racer. Well, this game finally entered Steam Early Access. I mean, it did January 23rd, and ever since it has received really positive feedback for its feel and just gameplay, which is basically if you're a fan of street racing games, this one's really worth checking out. In this game, you cruise the streets of Tokyo, challenging rival drivers in duels. The gameplay focuses on overtaking opponents and engaging in battles to earn points. The game actually features a roster of over 50 cars and approximately 200 rival teams, with plans for more content coming out in the future. Announced just a few days ago, earlier this morning the game was revealed too. Number 13, we have Screaming in the Basement. Obviously, this would have to be a psychological horror game in a deeply unsettling narrative in the year 1991, when I was born. In the game, you play as this unexperienced journalist determined to uncover the truth behind local legends of restless souls in this particular area. The game's supposed to create tension through visuals and a slow build-up of dread, pushing players to piece together clues and avoid the dark force. Currently in early access with plans to add more endings, additional puzzles, and expanded storyline based on player feedback. So, have you heard about Speed Demons or the sequel? In any case, this is an arcade highway racing game that has some explosive action and speed racing, offering a unique side-scrolling perspective which adds a fresh twist to the racing genre. I mean, not that fresh, I'm glad they're keeping it alive. Accompany that though, there's a pulse-pounding soundtrack and a variety of modes, vehicles and races, all to keep the grind fresh. In fact, it has over 10 game modes, including the very burnout road rage modes, sounding, pursuit, takedown, rampage. So if you're into high-speed racing with just a bit of chaos, this might be one to watch. And last but not least, we have Cast and Chill, which is this cozy idle fishing game where you can explore peaceful lakes, rivers, and oceans all at your own pace. So the deal with the game is you catch fish, sell them to upgrade your gear, and aim to reel in over 100 different species, including some rare and legendary ones. What's cool is that you can choose between active mode, where you can cast and reel in faster, or passive mode, which lets the game run itself in the background with offline progression. Anyway, the game's pixel charm is really charming, and it seems like a perfect way to relax and just unwind. I don't know why, but it actually reminds me a lot of the Kingdom Crown games as well.